When you travel far, far away from home, you will find the Lord at your side. Jesus leads you on every road you take, and He'll always be your trusty guide.
Hi everyone, welcome to our camp meeting this evening. I hope you guys have all been enjoying it so far. And to continue on from our camp theme, Compass, I'm going to be talking to you about what it means to share your flame. Okay, so sharing your flame. Okay, the light bulb. It produces light, allowing things to become visible. i.e., if a room is dark, then you can't see, all right? But as soon as a light bulb is turned on, what was not visible now becomes visible. But not only does that light produce light, it also emits heat. It makes an area feel warm. It can also give an indicator if electricity is on. It also directs traffic. It is used as a guidance for direction. So we can see that there's a lot of different ways a light bulb can be used. Now, light is used by everybody. It's used actually every day. What can be the best example? I would say the sun. Okay, so we got our sun that's up in space, and the sun is a source of light, and it is a heat for our world. Now, we are alive because of the sun. It keeps us warm. It also allows the water cycle to occur. It provides nutrition needed for trees and plants to grow. It provides us oxygen for us to breathe. It also allows us to see where we walk or travel. Unlike a light bulb, it is always on. It never turns off. There's no switch that turns the sun off and on. It is always shining on this world to keep it alive and thriving. Now, as I said before, the title of this evening's worship is called Share Your Flame. And now to share your flame, what does that mean? What does it mean to share your flame or to share your light? What does that mean to share your flame? Well, our main verse for this evening that we are going to be referring to is found in Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 to 16. Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 to 16. It says that you are the light of the world, and a city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but they put it on a stand, and it gives light to all the house. All the house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Now we are the light of the world, all right? We all are the light of the world. Now what does it mean for us to be the light of the world? What does that mean? Well, you see, Jesus Christ came down and walked among the people. Those people were roaming around in complete and utter darkness. They did not know what was the right direction to take. Their bearings were, I guess you could say, completely off, right? But when Jesus came down, He provided light for people to see. He provided them visibility to walk on that path of truth. He says this, right? He says this in John chapter 8, verse 12. In John chapter 8, verse 12, he says, it says that, again, Jesus spoke to them saying that I am the light of the world, and whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but they will have what? They will have the light of life. I am the light of the world. Whosoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but they will have the light of life. So Jesus says that he is the light of the light. Sorry, Jesus says that he is the light. He is the source of our light. And if we head back to our light bulb, okay, if we head back to our light bulb, in order for it to work, the light needs electricity. And that comes from a source. That's what is keeping the light bulb to stay on and emit light. Same as with a campfire, there needs to be a source for that campfire to emit light. Okay, you need kindling, you need sticks, you need wood, you need some sort of fuel to keep that fire burning. Okay. Now, similar to the light bulb or to a fire or to a flame, there is an original source. Okay, there is an original source that is our light for this world, and that source is Jesus. That's the truth. That is the truth. That is the source of our light. You see, Jesus, by leading an example, by walking, by teaching, by leading, he was able to provide that source of light to become a shining beam for others to see. So, for us to be the light of the world, it means for all of us to be switched on like a light bulb. That light bulb has to be switched on so that it shines up the whole room, so that others can walk in darkness no more. All right, so now we're going to head straight back to Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. Okay, so Matthew chapter 5, verse 14, it says, ye are the light of the world, a city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. Okay, so this part here, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all the house. That's what we're going to have a look at right now. Okay. So hiding the light does no good to anyone. I've been on camping trips, okay? I've been on hikes. And I'm not sure if anyone else have had this experience before, okay? Where you're on a hike and you might be hiking into the night, or you may be doing an overnight hike, okay? And someone has a torch. Now, the moment that person either turns off that torch, or it goes flat, or he or she might accidentally cover it, the visibility, it drops really, really low, okay? If there's no moonlight, then you're basically blind for the night. And it's hard to walk, it's hard to guide yourself on that path to get to the place that you want to go. All right. Now, God wants us to make sure that we keep on our light, our torch, our light bulb, our flame. He wants us to make sure that it stays on, that it's never covered, so that it can be used to its maximum potential. In other words, we should not hide our truth or our belief, our message, from other people around us. I'm sure there might be times, right? There might be times where we've all been in this type of situation where we feel like it's not the right timing to be sharing about Jesus, or we might become embarrassed or scared about sharing Jesus to others. And it's basically us placing a covering on the light bulb, on that torch, on that flame, so that no one else can see. It's covering it, right? It might show glimpses of light. It may show fractions there. But what good does that have for those who need to see, and they can only see a partial of their path that they need to take? Okay, what good is that? What good is that? In Ephesians chapter 5, verse 8, in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 8, it says, "For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." It's so selfish for us sometimes where we hide the truth from others, knowing that we were in the same situation as them, okay? That same darkness. And yet sometimes we choose when to shine the light and when to cover it, based off the people that we are around. Or it might be that environment that you may also be in. Jesus, it's interesting because I don't know about you, but did you guys know that Jesus, he never actually did that? Jesus never turned off that torch, turned off that light, covered it, or revealed it again, depending on the people that he was with. He never did that. He gave everyone that same opportunity, the same equal opportunity to see and to take hold of the truth. Never once did he hold back based on who that person was. He never did that. So, in saying that, how then are we truly meant to shine our light for others to see? How are we meant to share that flame, okay, for others to see? How are we meant to not hold back? Well, great thing, guys. I have a solution for you this evening, and it is to think like a servant. That's right. We have to think like a servant. Now, how do we think like a servant? Well, to be a servant, we have to change our attitude. We have to have a change in our attitude. We have to change our mentality. Now, a servant, he thinks more about others than he does about himself. His focus is on others while losing focus on himself. The Apostle Paul, whom we all know, says that we should forget ourselves long enough to lend a hand to others. Forgetting our own needs and becoming aware and help others in need. Now, unfortunately, a lot of our serving that we may do is often self-service. Or, in other words, we serve in order to get others to like or admire us, or to achieve our own goals. And that's when being a service to someone then becomes a service to yourself. Manipulation to what was selfless is now turning into selfishness. And it's very easy to turn a good service into pride and boastfulness of ourselves. That quality of forgetting self is a rare quality to come by. But it's one of the most important qualities to have to become a servant. Being selfish is such a natural thing that comes to us. And sadly, it doesn't help that we are living in a world where everything is self-centered, where the world tries to portray this message that the world owes you everything. And it's all about you. It's all about who you are, what you look like, who you need to impress. It's all self-centered. And then it becomes so difficult to have that humility, to lose self and focus on others. It's a tough thing to have. Now, in order for us to become like servants, we need to deny ourselves. If someone does wrong by you or takes advantage of you, you need to stop and think about, okay, what would a servant do if they were in your situation? What would a servant do? Now, we're going to move on here to the next important thing that there is to be able to think like a servant, okay? And that is that servants think about their work, not about what others are doing. Okay, servants think about their work, but not about what others are doing. They don't compare, they don't criticize or compete with other servants or ministries. They do the tasks that they have been given to do. No one should be competing with one another. Interesting thing is that everyone is on the same team. We all have the same goal, and that goal is not to make ourselves look good, but to make others look to God. I'm not sure about you, but whether you're at work or you've attended school, you may have been asked to be put into teams and work on an assignment or a task together. And in that team, you may be working towards the same goal, but everyone has their own individual jobs to do. In saying this, it's the exact same thing when we are working for God. We all have that same goal in mind. We're all on the same team, but everyone has their individual tasks and jobs to do. The Apostle Paul says that we will not compare ourselves with each other as if one of us were better and the other worse. We have far more interesting things to do with our lives. Each of us is an original. Mary and Martha. So I'll give you an example, right? So Mary and Martha, when Jesus came to visit them, what were each of the girls like when he was there? Okay, so we got Mary and we got Martha. So they're both sisters, all right? But when Jesus came, both of them had different reactions to each other. So, one was working and the other one was listening to Jesus speak. Okay? Martha was the one that was working. Mary was the one that was listening. Yet Mary complained of this, yet Martha complained of this, that Mary was not helping with all the work. She had lost that servant's heart. See, servants, they don't complain in what others are doing. They continue that work that they have been entrusted to do, whatever the outcome is. It's not our job to judge or evaluate the master's other servants, as the Bible says that that who we are to criticize. That who are we to criticize someone else's servant? The Lord will determine whether his servant has been successful. Also, it's not our job to judge ourselves against our own criticism. That's up to the master to decide, not us. And, well, look, what did Moses do? What did Moses do? He showed true humility in the face of the opposition. Even the same with Nehemiah. And Nehemiah's response, his response to those who criticized him was, "My work is too important to stop now and to visit with you." Now, if we do truly serve like Jesus, we can expect to be criticized. It's true, we can be. But only by the world, but not only by the world, but also by those in the church. And yet, they may not understand God's true values here. I'll give you another example, okay? So, another example of this would be of Mary and Jesus, okay? Mary took some expensive perfume. We might know this story, okay? So Mary had some expensive perfume and she poured it all over Jesus' feet, okay? And she poured it all over his feet, and yet her offering by the disciples, it was called a waste. It was a waste to them. Yet Jesus, on the other hand, he called it significant. That's all that mattered back then, and that's all that matters now. Yours and mine service for Christ is never wasted, regardless of what others say. A servant also bases his or her identity in Christ. They remember that they are loved and accepted by grace. And because of this, servants don't have to prove their worth. They are willing to accept jobs that those who are insecure may not take. One of the best examples we have of serving from a secure self-image is Jesus, washing the feet of the disciples. I'm not sure if you all would know this, but way back in the day, like way back before my time, there would be people who would shine your shoes, okay? They would shine and polish your shoes. And back then, it was by far one of the most degrading jobs of that time. To be a shoe shine boy is basically similar to Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. Yet, interesting is that Jesus knew who he was. Jesus knew who they were. And he knew that the job of washing those feet was threatening his self-image. It says in the Bible, though, that Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power and that he had come from God. So he got up from the meal, he took off his outer clothing and wrapped a towel around his waist. If we are going to be a servant to others, we must settle our identity in Christ. It's only those who are secure that can truly serve. Those who are insecure, well, to be honest, they'll be worrying about how they'll appear to others, and that they have the fear that exposing that weakness is terrible, so they'll cover it up with all of their pride and pretensions. But the more insecure you are, the more you'll want people to serve you, and the more you will need their approval. When we base our worth and identity on our relationship with Christ, we then become free from the expectations of others, and that allows us to really serve them best. There is no validation needed. Servants, they don't have awards for them. They don't have any bonuses, all right, if they help someone. They don't have that. They find it unnecessary to have the status symbol. They don't think about if their worth is based off their achievements, but the closer you get to God, the less you need to promote yourself. Lastly, a servant tends to think of ministry as an opportunity rather than an obligation. A servant enjoys helping others, tending to those in need, taking the opportunity when it arises. They serve the Lord with gladness. And why? Why is it, you may ask? Well, it's because they love the Lord and they are thankful and grateful for all of his grace and love and mercy. And they know that right now, serving is the best thing to do in their life. There's even a reward given to those who give and serve with all that they can do. Jesus says that the Father will reward those who do serve him. And backing up, the Apostle Paul even says that he will not forget of how hard you have worked for him and how you have shown your love to him by caring for others, even of the same faith. So, in closing, let's just get back to it a bit, okay? So, sharing our flame, sharing your flame, letting it shine for others to see, so that they may find the true path to take in life. Our world Our world is like a maze. Let's be honest, our world is a tough one to get through in life. And we need a compass. We need a compass to guide ourselves true north. Jesus, being that compass, that light, he was able to guide the people out to our destination. And now that we know that where we are going, our goal now is to help others who are in darkness still, others who are lost, to find that path and to take it. How though? How are we doing this? By letting the flame be shared to others around. Letting it shine for all to see. Not for some, for all to see. Not for those at church, for everyone. At work, school, everywhere you go is to let it be shined for all to see. And how are we to let that light shine? We need to let that light shine by being like servants. That's exactly what Jesus did. And how are we to be like servants? When we serve, we need to think about others than we do about ourselves. We need to think about our own work rather than the work of others. We don't compare, we don't criticize or compete with other servants. With other servants or ministries. They do their task that they have been given as what we need to do too. In order to think and serve like a servant, we need to base our identity off Christ and in Christ. And lastly, we need to think of our ministry and as an opportunity rather than an obligation. This is how we share our flame. This is how others will see. We need to be humble and honest and ready to serve. Let that flame shine for others to see that they too can reach and know the truth. Amen.